Hello everyone, Ember here. Hope you're having a nice day. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Heatran Vmax and some Heatran Vmax tech lists. So Heatran Vmax is one of the two confirmed returning Vmaxes in the next set, Astro Radiance, which will be our set in May. So very soon, it's coming out. And these Vmaxes, Machamp and Heatran, they're pretty good, to be honest. Like, they're not complete bulk, so I thought we'd take a look at them, as well as go over some deck lists from Japan. So I probably should have rephrased that to say I'm not looking at Machamp today. This is just Heatran. But yeah, so let's take a look at Heatran. So Heatran V, not a bad card at all. 220 HP, really nice to have. Retreat cost of 3, bit annoying because he's a bulky boy. But it does have two really good attacks. Hot Burn doing 30, and then your opponent's active is now burned, just does a little bit of chip damage. Nothing too amazing, but it's alright, it's fine. And then Lava Fall for 3 energy, 2 fire and 1 colors. Does 90 damage, and then if you have a stadium card in play, its attack does 90 more. So obviously if you have something like Magma Basin, which is your big one, you're going to be able to do like 180. And of course, you can turn to this pretty easily because you'll be able to just set up Heatrans with Arceus, as we'll see in the lists, or just by using manual attachments and Magma Basin. So pretty good attacker. And this will probably be like one of your primary attackers to use. And then we have Heatran VMAX that for 330 HP, so right off the bat we're on the more tankier end. Not quite reaching Eternatus Snorlax levels, but still really bulky for VMAX. Again, the retreat cost of 3 and weakness to water is pretty grim. So there is a bit of a concern about Heatran because Ice Rider is getting really good. Suicune is obviously really good already. And then there is Palkia coming out in the next set, Palkia V-Star, which is slated to be like just better Suicune. So bit of a worry, but overall, pretty solid card. So you just have to take the L to those decks, I think. But Heatran VMAX has a really good attack and a really good ability. Max Heat does 180 for 3, and then your opponent's active is now burned. So as we'll see later on, if you include a choice ban into this, then that means you're doing like 230 with the burn, so you can just knock out Evolving Vs on your second turn, hopefully. And of course, just 2-hit KO everything else. And then the ability, Lava Enhancement, says once in your turn, if you have a Stadium card in play, you may heal 50 damage from this Pokemon. So obviously, this is supposed to be paired with Magma Basin. You could pair it with other stadiums, such as the upcoming Temple of Sinnoh, which turns off Special Energy, or even, well, not Path to the Peak, but something like Training Court. But I think overall, Magma Basin is just your best option, because it's also like Heatran's best way of accelerating energy. So moving on to the deck lists, we have Heatran VMAX with Cinccino and Altaria, as well as a new Radiant Pokemon. So obviously Heatran doesn't really have a way of just drawing you extra cards, so Cinccino provides that very nicely. It just allows you to thin out your deck as well as discarding energy, so there's a bit of synergy there, as well as just being able to find all your niche cards, such as Team Yelltao, which just seems to be very prevalent in all these lists, and it just says heal 50 damage from both active Pokemon. So you can heal northwards of 100 damage in each turn, which is really good. And then, of course, because you're 2-hit curing your opponent anyway, you most of the time will not mind, healing 50 from their Pokemon as well. And of course, Altaria will just allow us to find a supporter card we might need. So there'll be some turns where you want to switch, some turns where you want to heal 70 from the cook, some turns where you want to guarantee boss's order if you think your opponent's going to switch out, and then some turns where you just want to research. You also play one Radiant Greninja. It just says once on your turn, you may discard an energy card from your hand, i.e., Fire Energy, and you may draw 2 cards. So you can use this in synergy with Magma Basin, so it's pretty good, and it'll just help you set up a little bit more. Overall, out of the 3 lists, I think this is the most unique in terms of playstyle. I'm not a fan of it, purely because Cinccino engines have never really been my kind of thing. But if you are an avid Cinccino fan and you like using all these kind of stage 1s, then this could be a pretty good deck for you. I'm losing my voice a bit there, but yeah, it could be pretty cool. Moving on a bit is Arceus doesn't really need an explanation or an intro. Really good card, really strong. 4-3 line, bit heavy, I think. I don't think you actually need to play a 4-3 line here, but it can sort of be a backup attacker, especially against water decks, as we saw earlier, is like really prevalent, so it can be pretty good. Trinity Charge, really good attack on both of them, honestly. Trinity Nova, Trinity Charge. And then, of course, Starbirth will allow you to find all your niche stuff. So we mentioned earlier with being able to find, pieces like stadiums using Cinccino. Well, here you can use the Starbirth ability to find Magma Basin, Choice Belt, your special energy that you might need, or even something as niche as like the one-off Marnie this tech plays. So, it is pretty good. You are playing one Heatran, the Radiant Heatran, that does 70 damage for each damage counter on it. So you can sort of like have this kind of like one prizer budding in the background, sort of threatening these massive knockouts, because if you're able to get several damage counters on there, Heatran, baby Heatran can just one-hit KO a V-Star or even a Vmax out of nowhere. So it is interesting to see the one Heatran in here. It is also just kind of cute seeing both Heatran Vmax and Radiant Heatran in the same deck. But either way, I think this is a cool list. Not really my preferred Arceus build. I think I'd rather play something like Arceus Raichu before I would play this. But I don't think this is like a bad shout, especially if you're like a newer player to Arceus and you want to play something that's a bit more simple, then this could be pretty cool. Then we also see Heatran. I would never call this a Heatran quad deck, but there is one Dominion if you want to be picky. I would personally say just play one of like the baby Heatran, the Radiant one, or maybe the Greninja, just because it provides a little bit more synergy and draw power, because you are a quad deck. This is essentially a bit like Quad Victini, except you're just kind of trying to be bulkier and stuff. I'm not sure how much I'll really like the quad build. I know I've said that about all three of these. Really, I'm not like the biggest fan of these deck lists, but like this could be the way to play Heatran successfully. Is you just play like a lot of tanky guys. But yeah, pretty consistent list overall. A lot of energy switch because you'll be primarily accelerating Magma Basin energy to the bench guys and then switching them over with energy switch. So yeah, that'll do it for today's video. Overall, I think Heatran's pretty cool. Let me know, of course, if you would like me to do Machamp or any of the V-Stars that are coming out. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video and let me know what you think of Heatran down below, and I hope to see you all next time.